WTBQ.
Hello and welcome to TG Wellbeing. This show is all about you feeling and looking your very best inside and out, sharing advice, tips, and information from the leaders and experts in medicine, health, fitness, nutrition, sports science, healthy eating, and motivation. I'm your host, Rob Fletcher, author of America's Next Great Trainer, Transform Your Life. You can check us out on Amazon and Instagram at ANGT TV. Also, be sure to follow TG Wellbeing. TG Wellbeing airs every Saturday from 12:15 to 12:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen worldwide at WTBQ.com. Today, we would like to welcome Dan Solomon, a publisher, producer, media executive, host, editor, writer, broadcaster, a brand builder, collaborative leader, co-executive producer of the motion picture Bigger, this Joe Weider story. The film had the largest budgeted bodybuilding themed production of all time. He is the founder of Digital Muscle Media and other brands within the global fitness industry, overseeing some of the industry's most celebrated brands. In 2005, Dan developed Pro Bodybuilding Weekly. The program became the category's #1 radio podcast property and remains bodybuilding's longest-running multimedia production. Named Most Creative of the Year by Iron Man Magazine in 2008, honored with the IFBB's Lifetime Achievement Award, presented by none other than the great IFBB co-founder, Ben Weider. Appointed as global advisor to Dr. Robert Goldman's International Sports Hall of Fame, through his years of relentless passion, hard work ethic, knowledge, and talent, leading to the incredible role of building on the empire and legacy of Joe and Ben Weider. Please join me in welcoming President and Chief Olympia Officer of the Olympia and Performance and Fitness Weekend and Muscle and Fitness Magazine, Dan Solomon. Dan, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Rob, typically you make me feel like a young man, but that introduction really had me feeling like I must be about 120 years old.
You have quite the resume, Dan.
You know, first of all, congratulations to you. You know, I followed your work for a number of years, and you seem to focus and you seem to be entrenched in all corners of that transformational universe and its multiple sort of manifestations, and you're just doing a great job, and I'm happy to come and talk to you. I know we've had a chance to do some things over the years and be in the same places, and you've always inspired a lot of us by just how you've really been passionate in ways that I don't think people fully understand, and the differences that you're making. So congratulations to you on just a great career.
I sincerely take that to heart, especially coming from you, Dan. That meant so much. Thank you very much. I just got off with Jake Wood. He was on our previous show here, and I just had to congratulate him. Of course, that congratulations extended to you and also to the entire Olympia team. As you know, I was at the last Olympia there, and you know what you pulled off. You know, I'll just say it. It's miraculous what you did with your team to be in Las Vegas 1 minute and then to have to do what you did in a short period of time and pull that world-class production off. I'm going to ask you the same thing I was speaking to Jake about. What was going through your mind when all of this was happening? I mean, I sort of know your personality, and I kind of know what the answer is going to be, but I want you to share with our listeners. You know, you hear you're faced with COVID and uncertainty, like, are we going to be able to pull this off? The greatest bodybuilding and fitness weekend in the world now has to move across the country and deal with all these restrictions. What was going through your mind, and how did you actually bring it together?
Well, you know, it's funny. I think when you're doing something, anything, and anybody will tell you if they're doing something larger than life, you're kind of in that spot, and you don't stop and realize what you're doing. And you don't stop and realize the gravity and the complexity of what you're doing when you're doing it. You just kind of take every inch by inch by inch, and you just put out one fire at a time. And I remember it like it was yesterday. We had spent 7 months planning to execute a full-blown Olympia weekend experience in Las Vegas at Planet Hollywood. And we were real excited to bring the Olympia back to the Las Vegas Strip, where it hadn't been in about 15 years, so I know the fans were excited about it. And then the governor of Nevada, who was kind of hot and cold throughout the entire COVID experience as to whether or not they were going to allow events to happen. And, you know, all those protocols were sort of a fluid process. And we finally found out about 5 weeks before the event was supposed to happen that we were not going to be able to welcome our fans there. And, of course, that was not something that we felt really good about. And we knew that we had an epic event ready to go, and one of the best lineups in the history of bodybuilding and physique competition and fitness. And we were just really amped up to do it in a big, big way. And the thought of doing that in an empty house was just not something that we were prepared to do. So with that in mind, we made a few phone calls. We found out that Florida was being a bit more accommodating, a little bit more flexible. The Orange County Convention Center in Orlando, Florida, welcomed us with open arms, and we basically did in 4 weeks what we typically do in about 7 months. And
Absolutely
we
incredible.
somehow managed to do it, and I'll never forget it. It's funny because, we could get into all the minutia of that process, and we could probably fill up, a couple shows talking about it. But the reality is it tested us in a lot of ways. And but you know what, though? I think we were all tested. I think all of us when I say all of us, I mean you, me, your audience, everybody who has responsibilities. We were all tested in ways personally and professionally during that time. And I'm proud of it. I learned a lot about teamwork. I learned a lot about the power of surrounding ourselves by, highly skilled, capable people who rise to the occasion. I learned a lot about myself and those around me. And, without getting into all the details, I'll just tell you that it was probably one of my greatest tests. And even to this day, when obstacles come up and I face challenges, I look back to that. I say, well, if we could pull off an event that brings tens of thousands of people to a city, sells out arenas, a fully blown, robust stage production, and all the things that we execute that weekend with press conferences and all the things, if we can do that in 4 weeks at the level that we did it, there are a few things that could come in front of me now that would scare me at this point. So it was an exciting time, and I'm proud of it. I could produce 15 or 20 more Olympia weekends, and there will never be one like the one that we had in 2020. It really was a fun thing to be a part of, and it really showed what this fitness industry is all about, because they came out, we sold out the event. There wasn't an empty seat in the building, and that's because people were so excited to kind of reconnect. And, this fitness industry, it's just such a close-knit group of people, and we all kind of feed off of each other's energy. And I think people have been hunkered down and cooped up for so long. And when they finally had a chance to get out of their houses and be a part of the Olympia experience, which for those of you all out there who have never experienced the Olympia, it's far more than a bodybuilding show, I can assure you guys. It's a really 100%. Inspiring week of all sorts of sensory overload, and we're proud to do it, and it's an experience I know you've taken in, Rob, over the years, but it's something that we're proud to do.
I have many years, and then I see the reason I say that is what I saw at that last, because I knew the story. I knew, what you were up against, and then to be there front and center to watch this all unfold and the way that it was done, it was a 5-star world-class production. And as you said, if you can do that, it's limitless with moving forward. That's why it's super exciting now. I'm super excited to see what's going on in Vegas. I know that we're going to talk about that in a bit, but before we do that, you're an amazing leader, Dan. I've watched you, I listen to you, and mentorship. I mean, all sorts of things that you learn. It's your passion, it's your hard work ethic. But what really sticks out to me most is the fact that you balance it with your family, your life, and the importance of being a father and being involved with your family. But then on top of that, that business component, being able to assemble teams of people, keeping them motivated, and then building not only business relationships, but you're real genuine and sincere. When you build a relationship, it's business/friendship in many cases, but you extend it. And I think that has a lot to do with your success because of who you are. I mean, you have this incredible resume. You have the talent, you have the knowledge, you have the passion. Incredible resume. I mean, I could say more, but I could write a book, and I think there should be a book about Dan Solomon. But Dan, how do you do that? How do you assemble such an amazing team to do what you did? Will go down in the history books for certain. But I know there's no magic formula, but what do you look for? What is some tips that you can give other people out there to share, like to surround yourself? You said it briefly, surrounding yourself with really good people.
I'll say this. Years ago, somebody said, and I don't even remember who said it to me, so I wish I could credit them. But somebody said to me years ago, they were talking about athletes in sports, and they said to me, good players can have a real successful career. Good players can have success. But great players make everyone around them successful. And those words really resonated with me. And, it seems hollow when you first hear it and you kind of ask it. But then when you find yourself when you're in situations like the circumstance you just described where we were trying to scamper to get that Olympia put together in a few weeks or just other situations I've had in my life, those words have really resonated, and I begin to really understand what that means. Good players can have great success for themselves, and great players can make those around them Hall of Famers. And I've really taken a lot of stock into that approach with everything that I do, and I just think it's so important to tap into the egoless approach of allowing everyone to shine and to be celebrated for what they do. And it's something that I think has really worked for me. And I think if everybody kind of takes that mindset, like I have a lot of friends, and by the way, this isn't even a criticism. I have a lot of friends who are great at being successful. They're great at making money. But if you go to their offices, you'll look in the parking lot and you'll see that there's only one Ferrari in the parking lot. Everybody else is driving something quite a bit different, right? Which is fine because we're not defined by the car that we drive. But the point being is I also have some friends who are tremendous leaders, very successful, and when you go to their offices, it's like an exotic car parking lot because he has managed, or those types of individuals have managed to extend success to those around them. And I've always noticed those kind of people. There's people that come to me with projects sometimes, and they want to work on things with me. And one of the first things that I'll do is I'll take a look at sort of their story, and I'll want to see not other success that they've had. Because, look, you've had success, I've had success, hundreds and thousands of your listeners have had success. But I want to look at the success that people have had in projects that have made other people that they've worked with also successful.
Great advice.
And I always stop for a moment and try to look at that. And by the way, if you're somebody who's successful and you haven't been able to make those around you successful, it doesn't mean you're bad at what you do. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not a criticism. It's just a style thing, right? It's a style thing. And some people just don't know how to make others successful. They haven't learned how to do that. They've learned how to make themselves successful. And again, that's okay. But for me, whenever I work with somebody, I really gravitate to those who have a track record of being involved in projects where those around them who have worked on those projects could call me up and they could say, yeah, I worked with Joe, I worked with Bill, I worked with whoever it was. And, we all crushed it together. We all did great together. And that's, I think that's one of the real separators in business in terms of the two types of leaders and the two types of success stories.
Great advice. You are listening to TG Wellbeing. You are listening to Dan Solomon, President and Chief Olympia Officer of the Olympia Performance Fitness Weekend. We will be right back. TG Wellbeing.
Yesterday's is a pub and restaurant where celebrations happen today, tomorrow, and every day. Bring your friends and family for lunch, dinner, drinks, and homemade scrumptious desserts. The food's delicious. Peggy and John invite you to eat in, take out, or cater your next event or party with Yesterday's, 29 Main Street in Warwick. Open 7 days a week with a menu for everyone. Visit yesterdaysnet.com to discover your cheers in Warwick.
Let's face it, times have changed. The way we interact with people, where we buy products, and how we find information. Catskill Marketing will get you up to speed with a full range of marketing services by focusing on website design with emphasis on e-commerce, social media management, graphic design, branding, and search engine marketing. Catskill Marketing uses the latest technology combined with their expertise translates to increased revenue for your business. Contact us now at catskillmarketing.com.
Dirt track racing is back at Orange County Fair Speedway starting on April 1st for all divisions at 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. with Shake It Down practice and pits open at 4 p.m. On April 2nd, it's the STSS Elite Series Hard Clay Open, handing out $25K for the modifieds and $1K to win for the sportsmen. Pits open at 3 p.m. and both the grandstand and drive-in are open at 4 p.m., racing at 6:30 p.m. And the rain date is April 3rd. Rev your engines and visit orangecountyfairspeedway.net for more information.
Hi, this is John Tesh. Tune in for great music and intelligence for your life on weekdays at 1 p.m. as we assemble the tips, the facts, and the news you need to be happier, healthier, more lovable, and more fun to be around. Radio worth listening to.
We put the intelligence out there. You decide what to do with it. WTBQ.
TG Wellbeing, welcome back. We are with Dan Solomon. Dan, we left off, we were talking about leadership, your amazing leadership ability, and what makes those great leaders different. But I want to move on to the Olympia. So exciting, going to the Venetian and Planet Hollywood. So talk a little bit about that and your expectations and any changes that you may be able to share.
Yeah, so this year we're back in Las Vegas after a 2-year Florida hiatus, which worked out okay, and now we're back on the Las Vegas Strip. We're going to be our main stage productions are going to take place at the Zappos Theater, which is inside Planet Hollywood. And for those people who know the sort of the venue landscape in Vegas, you'll know that the Zappos Theater is one of the top entertainment venues in all of Las Vegas, and we're very fortunate to have scored that as our host venue for our Friday and Saturday evening Olympia finals, where the best bodybuilders and bikini competitors and physique competitors and so forth will compete for their sport's most prestigious titles. And then in addition to that, the backdrop of all of it is, of course, our trade show, which we call our Olympia Expo or our Olympia World Fitness Expo. And that, of course, is a gathering of some of the top brands and the fastest growing brands in the fitness space. And that is a trade show that's held over about 300,000 square feet. We're going to do that in the Venetian Convention Center. For those of you guys who know Vegas, the Venetian Convention Center used to be the Sands Convention Center. And I know you had mentioned earlier Dr. Bob Goldman. Of course, Bob Goldman has his A4M anti-aging conference in that same space, and we're going to take up a little bit more space there. But I know it's been a great home for that event, and we're going to use that space for our expo. So it's going to be a real fun weekend. It's going to be the weekend of December 15th, 16th, 17th, and a really neat way to kind of make a holiday plan. You can do it. It'll be done a full 8 or 9 days before Christmas, but it's going to be a nice, cool time of year to be out in Vegas, and I think you guys are going to really appreciate it because we have a lot of celebrity commitments. I know you've been there in recent years where it's not unusual to see guys like Shaquille O'Neal or Dave Bautista or Mark Wahlberg or sometimes even Dwayne Johnson or Arnold stops by. So we've been very fortunate to get a lot of A-list celebrity interest and support, and you're going to see a lot this year in Vegas. And tickets can be had at MrOlympia.com. They're just going on sale now, and it's definitely something you want to book early. We have a heavily discounted room block at both the Planet Hollywood and the Venetian. So if you want to be, if you want to stay close to where the show itself is going to be, you can take advantage of that room block at Planet Hollywood. And if you want to do the same for the trade show, the expo, you can do that at the Venetian. And we were able to negotiate significantly discounted rooms. So if you want to have an inexpensive opportunity to get out there and spend a few days in Vegas. And,
at a great hotel.
Yeah, I got a couple great hotels.
Both of them,
so it'll be a lot of fun for sure.
And again, you can go to MrOlympia.com. Definitely check that out. So we're going to talk about the benefits and values of partnering with the Olympia. As we're very excited to be partnering for Valley of the Sun coming up April 9th, and then moving forward with TG Mesa and the Olympia weekend. But obviously a great visionary, Dan. What do you see in regard to the future of the Olympia weekend? Some possible expectations or changes that you may see or we can see?
Yeah, I mean, the whole evolution of the Olympia has kind of mirrored the evolution of the fitness community, right? When you think back, the Olympia was founded by Joe Weider in 1965. It was a bodybuilding competition. And I think we gave away I shouldn't say we, but they gave away $1,000 to the winner at that time. And that was, of course, the preeminent title. And as the fitness space has evolved in different ways and different physical and fitness disciplines have become trendy, you've seen a lot of that reflect itself in what we're doing with the Olympia. And I think you're just going to continue to see that evolution, that growth, and the footprint continues to get wider. The audiences that come to the Olympia have really grown in a significant way because there was a time where it was kind of very niche-y and very taboo to be a part of this sport. Let's face it. It was definitely a time where there was it wasn't well received to have muscle in Hollywood, and it wasn't well received to, be a big, strong baseball player. And of course, over the years, we've seen that evolution in sports. We've seen Hollywood leading men now have biceps and six-pack abs that we didn't see years ago. And as a result, the fitness industry is being counted on by Hollywood and movie studios when they're releasing movies and other sports. I know I work closely with athletes in all sports, and they know the names of the bodybuilders. They know the training principles. And so I think you're just going to continue to see all these communities connect and sort of, evolve right there within we're very fortunate that the Olympia is regarded as the most prestigious fitness gathering in the world. And it's really the beneficiary of all of that increased popularity and expansion among different corners of the world. And not just that, but even globally. Our reigning Mr. Olympia champion, the guy who currently holds the same titles that were once held by men named Arnold Schwarzenegger and Franco Columbu and Jay Cutler and Ronnie Coleman, the reigning champion, is a guy named Mamdou Alzbaye. They call him Big Ramy. He's from Egypt. He was born in Egypt. So we're starting to see that part of the world become a big powerhouse on the bodybuilding scene. One of our top contenders is a guy named Hadi Choopan. He's from Iran, and he actually makes the trip from Iran to the U.S. to compete in the contest. And imagine how difficult that is. So that's just how much this sport has grown.
Level,
and, of course,
and the level.
The cool thing is, and I'm sure Jake probably talked to you a little bit about this when he was on, the women have become a massive part of this industry.
He said 66%, which I didn't know. 66%.
66%. That's right. 2 out of every 3 professional fitness or bodybuilding competitors are women now, and that's because we've created divisions that provide an opportunity for women with all different types of physiques. These aren't just, some of these divisions are females with a ton of muscle, and then some of them are more mainstream, model, bikini model type looks, and then you got stuff in between. So we kind of cover the whole gamut.
And the weekend is really, it's not just, as you mentioned, but it's not just about the competitors and the athletes. It's about those people out there just looking or exploring the fitness industry, because what a great place to learn. As you mentioned, training principles. You have top trainers in the world that come together who are training the best athletes in the world at that weekend. So if you want a place to go and learn, to educate, and to raise awareness, that's the place to be.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I'd say 80% of the people who show up for Olympia weekend have never or will never step foot on a competitive bodybuilding or physique competition stage. They are people who, just like you described, are people who want to be better. They want to maximize their potential. They want to learn how to get in shape and stay young, and they have their own transformational goals, and they're there to tap into. You might not want to look like Mr. Olympia, but you can learn a lot from Mr. Olympia.
A lot.
And that's what I always try to remind people. A lot of people will look at a Mr. Olympia and say, "Oh, who wants to look like that?" That's not reality, and that might be true for you. If certain people might feel that way, but let me tell you something. You sit down with Mr. Olympia and you talk about diet and training principles, and you talk about the various ways that they've transformed themselves in all aspects, physically, emotionally, mentally. There's a lot to be learned from those stories, and I think the people who understand the community really tap into that. Some folks just get lost in the look, and they deny themselves the view, and that view being a chance to really learn and to be inspired and to really nurture things that are vital and valuable lessons and things that we can all take. And so unfortunately, some people just don't quite get that. But I can tell you right now, looking at our numbers and looking at our analytics, it's good news, because people are starting to get the memo, because the crowds
what a great
big.
place to do it. And everyone's so approachable there. You go up, you never know who you're talking to. You could be talking with one of the top trainers in the world, but again, just looking for that advice, something that words of wisdom or inspiration that could really change your life. But you're getting this wealth of information at a weekend that's designed to bring together the best of the best. And then, of course, you have your outreach of information provided through your incredible media platforms. Your website, which I think Jake mentions, is 17 million. And then you have your magazines, some Muscle and Fitness, Hers, and Flex. But all, again, you don't have to be that hardcore bodybuilder or weightlifter, because that's the information, that's the education, that's the raising awareness. So if you want to change your life, you could attend the weekend, you could pick up a publication, go to the website, MrOlympia.com. But I'm going to read something. I don't know where I came across this, Dan, but I'm just going to read it. This is a quote from you. about the weekend. As the industry's most celebrated event, we have a responsibility to lead the way in every possible way. After raising the bar with our stage production and prize money the last few years, we are now preparing to take our expo experience to an entirely new level. It's beyond our wildest imagination that the Olympia Expo will be held this year at one of the most magnificent event properties in the world. Our sponsors, exhibitors, and fans are about to experience something truly remarkable. And I agree. I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to that. And that's going to segue into now talking about the value of partnering with the Olympia and with the variety of platforms that you offer when it comes to sponsors and potential partners, because it's unlike any out there. This outreach of platform that you have that ties in with becoming a partner. And I say partner because that's how I believe that you look at things. It's a partnership. You want people that you come in contact with to grow as you grow and as we grow together. And that's really why we're involved as well.
Well, it is a unique customer engagement opportunity because you're right. There's plenty of opportunities out there to sponsor events. And as you know, events, they last a few days and then they go away. There are opportunities to do social media campaigns. There are digital programs out there. There's e-blast programs out there. We're positioned in a very unique way because when you do a sponsorship program with the Olympia, not only do you get the on-the-ground, on-site activations that come with being a part of Olympia Weekend through all of those channels and all of those visibility opportunities, and, of course, the opportunity to be a part of the expo and our stage production, all that other stuff that we do. But as Jake mentioned, we have nearly 18 million fit-minded followers that follow all of our channels. And when I say our channels, I'm referring to Muscle and Fitness Hers, Flex, and the Olympia, and also some other media that we own that's tied to our Wings of Strength production company. So we have a lot of opportunities to reach fit-minded followers around the world. And then in addition to that, because we are a long-standing media outlet, we do have e-blast programs and, of course, muscleandfitness.com with over 3 million monthly visitors. And that's an opportunity to, have editorial visibility. We can shine a spotlight on companies in ways that other events really can't through Muscle and Fitness. So between the digital, the editorial, between the e-blasts and the event activations and all the other things that we're able to do through social media, through our stories, through all of it, it's just a really multifaceted program. And it doesn't force a marketing director to have to commit one way or the other. It's just an opportunity to really get a lot of value and just kind of let us take the ball and run with it. And that's one of the reasons why we have a very loyal contingency of sponsors, because they know that when they work with us, they're going to be able to check off really all their boxes, right? And it's a great overall, very sort of turnkey approach to reaching the fitness community.
Well, we were with Dan Solomon. Dan, we are coming up with the final minute here. So in closing, I just want to make sure that everyone checks out MrOlympia.com for tickets to the Olympia. In closing, Dan, any closing thoughts that you want to share?
The only closing thought I have, Rob, is just, it's been so gratifying that so many of us have come together and we're having conversations like this. There was a time, think back 10, 15 years ago, when we were all in our own little corners. You had the the gym rats in one corner, and you had the nutrition. I'll say like the nutrition geeks, and I say that affectionately, right? In the other corner, and then you had the coaches and the gurus in one corner, and then you had the yoga mom and the soccer mom and that crowd, and it was just one of those things. And you had the CrossFit community. What we're finding now is we all see things in each other that make each of us better, and I'm just really loving that happen. It's happened right before our eyes, where some of my best friends now are nutritionists or guys like you, and just people that really understand parts of this industry that, quite frankly, I don't. And we're able to sort of bring each other together, and I think there's a real respect and admiration for all corners of what we do, where there was a time when there was almost rivalries, where the science community used to look down upon the bodybuilding community, and the bodybuilding community would look down on the CrossFit community. And this was happening all the time. And And I always say, why don't we all just stop and just realize that, you know what, some of those CrossFitters, they know a whole lot. And some of those nutritionists have a lot of information that we can all really benefit from. And certainly the things that go on within the fitness and bodybuilding arena can inspire in ways that are almost impossible to quantify. And I think we're all kind of starting to build that mutual respect for each other. So that's been something that I've really enjoyed seeing.
Dan, I can't thank you enough. We are with Dan Solomon, President and Chief Olympia Officer of the Olympia and Performance and Fitness Weekend and Muscle and Fitness Magazine. Dan Solomon. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. I will see you soon.
Keep up the great work, Rob. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us today. Tune in every Saturday, TG Wellbeing, 12:15 p.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen worldwide at WTBQ.com. It's all about a better you, inside and out. Tune in. It may change your life.